There are a lot of companions in Neverwinter, and it can be hard to know which ones are worth buying. In this series I talk a little bit about how companions work, their history, and their effectiveness in an effort to save you some time and some hard-earned AD. Welcome to Questionable Companions. One of the most common things I get asked is what is the strongest summoned companion for DPS? Well, today I'm going to cover exactly that. This is the Chaltn Tiger. The Chaltn Tiger is one of 3 companions that can make enemies take increased damage. That alone puts this monster of a companion well above the rest, but the Tiger goes above and beyond the other 2. The other 2 companions, the Sellsword and the Con Artist, both give flat stats as their active bonus. Flat stat bonuses are better than no effect at all, but not by much. At max rank, the Sellsword gives a pathetic 300 power. That's the same amount as a single rank 8 Radiant enchantment. Needless to say, the effectiveness of that bonus gets smaller and smaller as you factor in bonding runestones and buffs like power shares from OP and Anointed Army. So why exactly is the Tiger a cut above the rest? Well, its active bonus is actually percentage based, meaning that it scales with your power buffs and will continue to be relevant at high levels of power. Its active bonus gives a whopping 5% run speed and damage at the start of combat for 25 seconds. That's almost as long as a fire buff from Wheel of Elements. But that's only part of why the Tiger is so good. The Chaltn Tiger has 2 abilities that we really care about. Killer Instinct, a passive that simply states that enemies who are affected by the Tiger's bleeds take 10% more damage, and Claw, which simply deals damage. If the Tiger has combat advantage when he uses Claw, he'll also apply a bleed to the target. This means that it's possible and highly likely that you'll have both the 5% outgoing damage bonus and the 10% increased damage at the same time, meaning that from the single companion you get an additional 15% outgoing damage. This is insane for a single companion, and as far as I'm aware, it's the highest scaling damage bonus you can get from any companion. Now, not everything about the Tiger is amazing. He has a tendency to stand in a place that doesn't actually give him combat advantage, meaning that he isn't applying bleeds. This loses you the additional 10%, and if the fight lasts longer than 25 seconds, you aren't getting anything out of him besides bonding procs. That's obviously a huge problem and can cut the Tiger's effectiveness to almost 0 if you aren't careful. On top of that, there's almost no 100% effective way to force the Tiger to stand where it needs to stand. He will usually just sit in one place during the fight, and that place is reliant on where you stand during the start of combat. But not always. I've seen this fucker run circles around bosses, and it's one of the most infuriating things I've had to deal with in Neverwinter. All of that aside, when he works, he's the best there is. 3 offensive enchantment slots and 2 ring slots means he's perfect for any DPS class. The only slight hiccup is the talisman slot, and, well, the price tag.
Oh, hell no!
With all of that said, the Chaltn Tiger is the current king of the DPS charts. He's best in slot for every DPS class, and he's a pretty solid option for some support classes too, since the extra 10% damage applies to your allies as well. There isn't a class that the Chaltn Tiger doesn't do well on, and for that reason, I'm putting him at the very top of the tier list. He's an amazing addition to almost any build, as long as you can afford the price tag. Thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to leave your suggestions for companions I should cover in the next video in the comment section below. This has been Charisma, and I'll see you later.